Hello friends, my name is Benaki and welcome to my channel FinTech Logics. Today we will talk about uh, BNPL and specifically the recent RBI regulations. Those have come forward to control the way BNPL was operating. Uh, so primarily we will deal with what is the importance of balance sheet lending, why RBI is focusing on that, why RBI is talking about reduction in FLDG or using it judiciously, and third thing is why RBI is saying that the dependency on prepaid instruments should be reduced or even eliminated completely, right? So let's begin. If you have not seen my previous videos on BNPL, I would try to link some of the primary videos here so that you would get a full flow of BNPL landscape. Now, just to give a recap, we talked about the various BNPL models. If you have not seen it, I will link it. Let's go to our primary topic of today. Now, let's look at RBI regulations. So if you read RBI regulations that has been published recently, post May 22, even corrected in July and even January of 2023, primarily RBI is talking about these three angles of BNPL changes. So your first one is, it is mandating, RBI is mandating balance sheet lending. So previously what was happening is that none of these banks had actually come up with these BNPL loans. These were primarily being offered by BNPL apps. In many cases, they do not have RBI lending licenses, and in many cases they had taken a big portfolio loan from a bank and utilized that money for facilitating these loans, BNPL loans. Now RBI is mandating the partnership of BNPL players with banks so that your loans can be financed as balance sheet loans of a bigger NBFC or a bank. There are multiple reasons for that. We will discuss about that in a summary in Y section. Let's look at the second one. The second one is about reduction in FLDG. So we have talked about FLDG. So this is first loss default guarantee players. So because these BNPL players do not have a background of a licensed NBFC or a banking operator, what they do is that they take help of first loss default guarantee players who assure the default on the first installment only. This is a kind of insurance, in short, if I can simplify that. With that, they were able to take this risk. But right now, overall, RBI is actually mandating reduction of FLDG and increase in the co-lending scape. So that is why in BNPL space also RBI has instructed to reduce the FLDG and go with a partnership model with the banks or NBFCs. Now, third thing is that RBI has also talked about prohibition of prepaid instruments. Now, what is prepaid instruments? Normally, if you see business models of Simple or your Pay Later, or if you see your models of Slice Pay, they were also issuing cards. But these cards were not like credit cards. These were like prepaid or store value cards, which were given to customers and then customers can utilize that for multiple purchases, and that amount that he has purchased can be converted to loans and can be taken by the BNPL player. Now, because of this prepaid instruments, the credit policies were also very lenient. So that is why, just to make this as a pure lending product, BNPL, to recognize BNPL as a pure lending product, the same credit policy should also be applied. So that is why RBI has mandated that, okay, you cannot use prepaid instruments or wallets which are already pre-stored and give it to customers for their purchases. Rather, this has to go through a credit policy, a stringent credit process. Now, in summary, if you see why these norms are being brought forward by RBI, the first one is about prevention of lenient KYC process. So wherein, without knowing much about the borrower details, these loans were being created, and RBI has actually raised their eyebrow for this, and they want to make this process a proper one. Proper KYC should be done on the lenders. As we talked about, the second point is about implementation of stricter credit policies. So because RBI has mandated balance sheet lending and reduction of FLDG to go in a co-lending model, the aim is that the credit policies of NBFCs, bigger NBFCs, licensed NBFCs and banks are stricter, and if they go on a co-lending model, those credit policies would also be implemented for this BNPL, and the credit quality would be better. Mandating stricter credit reporting and regulatory. Now, initially BNPL loans, we have seen it earlier that the reporting terms, may it be your credit bureau reporting or may it be your regulatory reporting to RBI's, those were not up to mark. So because of these need, if the BNPL players will partner with a NBFC and bank, they would also come under the regulatory need of the bank, and they have to also make all sorts of disclosures and also credit bureau reporting. Now, fourth one is about consumer protection on unethical collection policies. Now, this is brought forth specifically to help BNPL customers. So what was happening is that the younger generation would go for BNPL without knowing all these dubious or malicious procedures that can be taken if there is a default or delay in payment. So that is why, to have consumer protection, this kind of partnerships with banks and NBFCs and regulations are being brought forth that will help customers also get protected from this malicious collection policies. Now, last one is about the overall increase in the consumer literacy for BNPL, to recognize that, okay, BNPL is also a type of loan and it also has the same repercussions if there is delay or default in payment, including damage to their credit history. So for all these reasons combinedly, RBI has brought this three at this point of time, but in near future, by the end of 2023, there would be a series of regulations that would also come on BNPL angle. I hope this video is able to give you some insights about how the BNPL has come to the purview of the central bank RBI in India at this point of time, and with these regulations, BNPL is definitely going to flourish, but taking forward everybody with lenders benefit, with merchants benefit, and finally with customers benefit as well. Thanks a lot, viewers, for watching my video. If you have any further clarification, please let me know in the comments and I would be able to make additional content on that. Thanks a lot.